Hello everyone, it's the Pathfinder. Today we are going to go through one of the very interesting topic because there are many people who find it very difficult to invest in the current market, very difficult to find good deals, very difficult to find good prices as compared to just 1 year ago where we have I won't call it a bear market, but it's a way lower market and way slower market where you can still get sealed boxes at a pretty reasonable price. But I'm going to show you a few examples of how you can still get it done, and also just do a quick comparison to just what I bought last year and how they're doing currently. So right now on the screen you see that I am actually showing my collection and sorted by total return, and that means the total number of the value that I have in some of these products. If you follow my videos in the past, I have shared with you that the biggest number of boxes I have is actually in temporal forces, and the reason is very simple. It's because it's one of the box that I can get them at the lowest price possible at that time. So I'm just going to quickly show you what it is. So I mostly started collecting these boxes since last year, and of course this is released almost only about a year ago, so it's not a very old box. So if we just look at all time, and so it started in January 2024 last year, so slightly more than a year. So this is probably close to the release time, is in the March. So you can see that I got in. I won't say this is a very low price, especially compared to what you may have gotten them in the US, but in Singapore this is considered very good price. This is in American dollar, USD. So in Singapore dollar, this is about maybe 150 Singapore dollar, 145, something like that. So I, of course, we used to be able to get better price in case. When we buy them in sealed case, we can get slightly better prices. So that's why I always buy them in cases with my supplier in the past. So you can see even up to January this year, I could still get them at a very low price, but that was the last two case that I can get at a low price. And after that, of course, January, this is in, of course, this price is mostly based on the open market in the US. In Singapore is a little bit different, but it gives us a good idea. So the whole of last year, you can see that the price is quite stagnant until about the end of last year when it started creeping up. So it stayed very low at 105 at a long time, and then 120, and when it hits 2025, it's actually $135. So you can see that even when I bought the last two cases, in the US or in the open market, in eBay, in TCG Play, it's already selling at 150, but I still was able to get them at 106 in Singapore. So that shows you the difference in the market. From then on, it just keep going up and up and up, right? So total value wise is about $9,000 in terms of value for the 42 boxes that I have, 7 cases in total. So this already made more than double. Basically whatever I put in, I made about double or slightly more than double. And it's only about, actually if you think about it, it's not even 1 year yet when I started to buy these boxes. So this is one of the best performing collection for me at the moment. Oops, let's go back to this. And the second one, of course, is the PCTV. Actually I have started selling some of them because for two reasons. One, I do not think it will do as well as booster box in the long run. I think they will do pretty well, but in terms of the top cap, I do not know how well it's going to do in the long run, because there's no history to this, there's no precedence, so we really have no idea. We do not know where to place this in the future. At the moment, it's selling pretty well, so this is about double, actually more than double MSRP if you are able to sell it at this price in the open market in eBay. I have, as you can see here, I also record the sales that I have done. So I got them at about 70, 80 American dollar. This is basically MSRP in Singapore, and I sold some of them, just offload them to reduce my my cost basis in them. That's why you see a crazy number over here. It doesn't mean that it grow 600% in terms of the value. It just means that my cost basis was very much lower because I already started selling some of them, and the proceed actually they goes back to, and they basically cut down the cost that you spent in this particular product. That's why the average cost will keep going down when you start selling your things, especially if you are making a profit, right? In another word, if you are not thinking about taking the money out, so it just means that you are cutting down your cost and cutting down the risk you have in the product. So I think that's a good thing. And the first reason, like I said, was because I'm not very sure in the long run whether this is a product that will do better than a booster box. Like we all know that if a booster box you hold it for like 5-6 years, the price is usually in the $400 to $500 range per box. But in Pokemon Center ETB, we are not so sure, so I'm just slowly trying to cut it down. The first one is the price cap. The second reason is the space. Actually, ETB is taking up quite a bit of space, especially because I started with more than 25 ETB. I think it was 26 or 27, can't remember. But so I'm trying to cut it down, and so that I can make more space as well. And for my, the future purchases, my booster boxes, so I have more space to keep them. So the third one in terms of value is Surging Spark. Surging Spark recently has actually gone down. Surging Spark recently has gone down quite a bit because of the rumor of the reprint. Not just rumors, some people actually really did get quite a little stock, but in Singapore I don't think we have them. Even if we have, the shops are not selling them at any affordable price at all. I have seen prices like more than $350 Singapore dollars. So in the US, this will translate to, I don't know what is this, 250, 260, 270. So it's not cheap in Singapore as well. So I don't see any reason to buy them because I got in pretty early. So the 6, is this 6? Okay, yeah, so the 6 cases I got. 4 cases that I got was pretty early. The first 2 case was at release. It was a good price. I think it was lower than this. And then I think 2 weeks later, I got another 2 cases at a restock, basically the second wave from distributor. They usually hold back a little bit. I'm not too sure why. And they sent it out 2 weeks later. The price was slightly higher. So on average, it's about $120. This was pretty much during the release month. And then a few months later, this is beginning of this year, yeah, so my supplier got some more stocks, but at that time it was already above MSRP. So I got 2 more cases because I really believe this product is one of the ones that will do very well in the long run. So I just bought them 2 more cases. And lastly is these 2, I bought it directly from the distributor. They have shops as well, actually, on the online platform, and I could use some coupon to get, I think, 10% off or something off the MSRP. So yeah, I got the last 2 boxes they have available for sale, so I just grabbed them quickly. So that's my 38 boxes of Surging Spark that I'm gonna keep for long, unless it really drops below the whatever average cost I have, which is pretty good considering the current market. So if it really drops anything below this, I will grab a few more, but other than that, I'm happy with what I have at the moment. I'm not looking to add more. And then we also have, of course, the Paldea Evolve boxes that is actually skyrocketing recently. Probably are not expecting any more reprints in the future. I got 2 cases at a pretty good price from my supplier. So this is one of probably the last few cases that they have. This was September last year. So last few cases that they have at a good price. After that, the price just keep going up and up because the supply is really drying up and there are more and more people looking into buying sealed product. And I got 1 more case at a much higher price later on, but still below MSRP in Singapore as well. Pretty okay. So I got close to 3, about this basically 3 cases. But some of them are actually loose pieces. I think I have 6 loose pieces of it, but at this price anyway. So at the moment, it shows that it's going, already more than double in terms of value compared to what I paid. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all of them. Twilight Masquerade at the moment is doing quite well. I have 5 loose pieces in a case, and but basically you can see that the way I do this is I really try to get in at a good price and just hold them. And all these are pretty young at the moment, So if we are looking at the next few videos, I'm going to really show you some ideas of what I may be doing to in terms of selling when I'm really going to start selling. Of course, you see I already sold some boxes like the PCTB, and also 2 more cases where I started selling them earlier. I'm going to share with you. The first one is actually Journey Together. Journey Together, I share in a separate video. I made a lot of transaction, way more than I would love to, but for a good reason. The reason is because I really got in at a very bad price. I really FOMO'd and I made a bad mistake, which I hope I will not ever repeat again. I bought them at a very high price, and then thankfully I was able to find more at a lot lower price. And then, but I was still early enough to resell them at a pretty good price, so I could cut my my cost down to about I'm left with one silk case at about $120 cost. At the moment you may look, oh, that's actually a good price, but don't be surprised that in another half a year, 1 year time, when I do not know whether the market will go as low as what we had in the last year, or maybe it takes another 2 years to get there. But this cost at the moment, it looks good. But actually, if you compare with what I shown you earlier, like my Temporal Forces boxes or even my Paldea Evolve boxes, it's actually not a very special price. But because I have the experience of last year, I know that that is the kind of price, or at least the kind of cost I would want to target. I want that cost. 110, 120 is something that I'm very comfortable with, because I know it probably will not drop, much lower than this in the long run. Even if nobody loves Pokemon anymore, I still do not think it will go below this price, right? Because it's pretty much a very safe price. So that is my target from then on. And of course, Destined Rival at the moment is still very, very expensive. And if you look here, it shows that I already made more than 200% of what I paid. But of course, that only works if you actually sell them all, right? But I'm not going to do that, because my intention is not to flip. If I have wanted to flip, I would have sold all my 6 boxes that I got them at a very, very high price. So I got one case like I showed you in my earlier video, where I opened up the box and I pretty much immediately sold 2 boxes at a very, I would say, a very high price. You may even call this the scalper price, $270. But the fact is, somebody wanted it early, right? They wanted it fast, they wanted it early for whatever reason. Maybe they want to sell it on TikTok, rip and shape or whatever it is. Somebody bought it. So I bought 4. I have a case from my supplier at a very, very good price, I'll say. Of course, some people actually got it lower than this, but maybe not much lower, maybe 10% lower, 15% lower. Basically, it's a very good price. And I sold 2 of the boxes, and I explained earlier that how this app works, Pokédata works, is that they actually cut into your cost that you paid. So that's why it looks like, oh, the average cost right now is 85 USD. So it's basically like a distributor cost price, right? The supplier wholesale price. And that's very good. So if in the future, actually, if this market stays this way and I can still get multiple boxes, at least 3 boxes, I would say, I should, sell 1 or 2 pieces, cut my cost down, and really cut down my exposure, and then hold the rest, right? That's how I think it will be a perfect scenario. But it only works if you can get them at a low price, and not everybody can get that, unfortunately. So yeah, so at the moment, I only have 4 boxes. But the average cost is very, very low. So in the next few months, few weeks, whenever the next wave come in, so whatever price I can get them, hopefully close to whatever I paid in the beginning of the release, then I will continue to buy them. My target is usually 2 to 3 cases for each set. For the better one, as you can see, or if I can get them at a very, very good price, even though if it may not be the best set in the whole era, like Temporal Forces, definitely it won't be, the top 3. I don't think they're the top 3 of the era, but because they are available at such a low price, at that time I have, more cash, I have more budget to spend, and that is basically like one of the one that is available at a very low price, so I just kept buying them, right? So it also really depends on what is available to you, what is accessible to you, and at that moment of time, whether you have some spare money put aside. If you have, then I would suggest buying them, even though it may not be the best in the whole era. So that's what I wanted to share. Basically, do not FOMO, because the opportunity will come. It may not be now. If you can find someone that sell you at a low price, actually this is a very, very good market to, I hate to use that word, but to flip pretty quickly, especially during release when the price is high. Maybe you flip 1 or 2 boxes and you keep the rest, and then it will, even though you may get them at a slightly higher price than what you would love to, but you can cut down your costs in that way. It requires a bit more work. Like for Journey Together, it's way too much work for me. Because if you see in the other boxes that I bought, I actually never sell them at all. Like Temporal Forces, Surging Spark, Powder Evolve, Trial and Masquerade, even though it's like more than 100%. Let me just show you this one. Trial and Masquerade, look at this, it's 114%. If I really sell them right now, I could make like almost more than double of what I paid them, but I didn't sell any at all because I'm not tempted by this number, and the reason is because I know in a few more years, in 3-4 years time, this is going to be way more than what you can currently sell. And if I sell it now, I couldn't get it back at the cost basis that I could get them. So why sell them, right? Unless I know for sure I can get it back at a lower price, but I'm not sure about that. So that is the main reason. And I think as a investor in air quote, of the booster boxes, that is something that we always have to keep in mind. If you sell them, are you going to get it back? Are you able to get it back at a a lower cost basis? And if not, then is that the best time to sell? I think that is the most important thing. So set your target and stick to your target, stick to your gut, and don't be tempted by just because you can make a quick buck and then you lose out on hundreds and thousands of profit that you could have made in the future. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to share today. I hope you have good luck with Destined Rival, with Journey Together release. It was rough, but it looks to be getting a little bit better, and I hope it will continue to get better. See you in the next one.